Hey, Alex here, and welcome to my channel, and I hope you are doing great. To my subscribers, thank you for following me, and if you're new to the channel, I hope that you'll consider subscribing. I'm so pumped about today's install as it's a big one, 33 inches to be exact, and I will be upgrading my stock 16-inch TRD Pro wheels with the Goodyear Wrangler 265/70 R16s to the RTX 17-inch Baja Offroad Series with the 285/70 R17 Nitto Ridge Grapplers all-terrain hybrids. So our first step is to get these mounted and balanced at one of the local tire shops around the corner here. And once mounted, I will be installing these babies onto my Tacoma myself, as there are certain factors to consider, like my Fox 2.5-inch shocks with 1-inch lift, and my KSP 1.5-inch wheel spacers, and I may need to do a cab mount chop. I hope that this is not necessary, but it looks like I'm gonna have to do some trial and error and some testing to see what works well without too much rubbing, and we'll go ahead and load everything else in the truck. I'm now at Tire World, one of the local tire shops here, and let's go check out how they do the install. So I decided to get some TPMS sensors as well, and these are now being installed on the wheels. So we are all done here. The tires are installed on the rims. They're all loaded in the truck, and let's head on home and install these babies on the tacho. So I'm about to mount these babies onto the truck, but before I do that, I would like to go over some brief technical specifications of both the wheels and the tires. And also I want to touch up on how I ended up choosing these wheels and these tires. So as far as the selection for wheels, there's tons of choices out there, and for me it came down to these babies here, which are the RTX Baja Offroad Series, and it has a satin black finish and with the milled rivets. And also these are the 17x9s with a 0 offset. As far as wheel selection is concerned, it's more of a personal preference on how you want it to look, and for me and my wife, we like this look, and it's rated for off-roading. Choosing the tires is a totally different story. There's also tons and tons of choices out there, but after going through a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of blogs, a lot of reviews, I narrowed it down to 3 choices, which is number 1, the Nitto Ridge Grapplers, number 2, the BFG KO2s, and number 3, the Toyo All-Country AT3 tires. And basically my selection criteria are: number 1, tire performance, of course. I need tires that perform well both for daily driving and for weekend off-roading, and also for towing. So this narrowed down my search down to hybrid tires. In addition, performance under different road conditions, as weather changes where I am, is a must. We get snow, we get rain, we get heat, so roads get wet, slippery, icy, slushy, or just extremely dry. To this note, I want to make sure that I get tires that can adapt and perform well no matter what you throw at it. Number 2, longevity and quality. I want tires that will perform well not only when they're brand new, but will keep performing well after putting on 60, 70, 80,000 kilometers, or maybe even more. With the Nitto Ridge, they've combined their comfortable performing road tire, which is the Terra, and the more serious off-road mud tire, which are the MTs, and came up with the Grapplers. So basically you get the best of both worlds. Number 3 would be aesthetics. Looks is always very important to me also. So I like the Grapplers flat top, wider stance look, and with the dual sidewall design, this gives me the choice to either go with more of an aggressive look or more of a conventional look. And as you can see how it's mounted right now, I went with the more aggressive look. Number 4 for me would be other people's personal reviews and real life experiences. And this is a must for me to consider, as user opinions and first-hand experience is a very good source in making a decision. You'd hope that people share their objective opinions all the time, but that's not always the case. So I'll take all the subjective comments and all the objective comments, and I factor those into my selection process. And finally, price. This is always a big factor, of course, especially when you're on a budget. But as it turns out, the price difference between the top 3 tires that I ended up choosing was only $90 for the whole set. So between the cheapest and the highest price set, it's not a big difference. The Grapplers actually came in between the KO2s and the Toyo tires. So I ended up with these babies. So let's just have a summarized look at the Grappler's technical specifications so we can understand the tires better, starting with the dual sidewall system. As you can see, we have both the traditional dimensional look down here, and also the more aggressive multi-shape pattern up here. And these sidewalls are made of super tough sidewalls, and they are puncture resistant. Next would be the lateral Zs, or as we call it up in Canada as the lateral Zs. And as you can see, these threads are set in a zigzag pattern for better traction, and step block edges provide extra bite in any terrain, such as asphalt or mud or snow or sand or whatever the case may be. Now, if you look at the shoulder grooves, these help maintain strong grip, ejecting or clearing out water or mud or snow or slush much quicker from the thread. So this provides a strong grip and stable drive all the time. It also has the staggered shoulder lugs for better grip and for better control, and it helps avoid uneven tire wear by applying even pressure on both sides. We have stone ejectors, and these ridges protects the threads from being damaged by pushing out tiny stones that always get stuck or get in the way. Before we start mounting, I just want to point out that there's a difference between the factory bolts and the aftermarket bolts. These are the acorn bolts, which will not fit the aftermarket rims. So I had to grab a set of these, which are the conical tuner locks. And these are 12mm by 1.5s. I've been calling these babies, and they're not babies. These are actually big daddies. They're pretty heavy. I've got all 4 mounted, and all I got left is the center caps. I'll install these and have a walk around and see how it looks, and that should be it. So let's have a look at this baby. I think she looks great. I think she looks a lot sexier with those new legs. So the installation wasn't too bad. I did take some time to peel off the stickers off of the tires, but other than that, the installation was pretty straightforward. I would like to remind you guys again that the wheels and tires combination is pretty heavy. So I found that by using my thighs to help support when lifting the wheels into place, made the installation process a lot easier. Also, I failed to mention that I did speak to my wheel dealer, and they advised me to use the factory recommended torque specs, and I did just that. I did manage to take the Taco out for one final spin while the factory installed Goodyear Wrangler tires were still on, and eventually again with the new grapplers to measure the sound or noise level that it was producing, and this is what I scoped out using a decibel meter. As you can see here, going at 80 kilometers per hour at 1000 RPM, the Wranglers were producing 67 to 69 decibels, and the Grapplers were at 68 to 70 decibels. Now going at 120 kilometers per hour at 2000 RPM, the Wranglers were at 73 to 75 decibels, and the Grapplers were 75 to 79 decibels. So as you can see in this illustration, the grapplers are a tad higher, but there's only about 2 to 3 decibels difference. And to put this into perspective, normal breathing is about 10 decibels. So the difference here is very negligible, and I'm very satisfied with that. By the way, I ended up not reinstalling my 1.5 inch KSP wheel spacers, as the additional 1.5 inch offset was an overkill for me and was way too much for my liking. However, going from 265 to 85 wide actually gained me about almost an inch. So what I lost on the wheel spacers, I gained on the overall width of the wheels. So I'm happy with the stance that I have right now, and the difference to me is, again, negligible. There is definitely a lot of rubbing when turning, and I'm hoping that by removing the mud flaps that the issue will be resolved. I don't think that it's rubbing up against the upper control arm or fenders, but I will investigate around the wheel well area to see what is really going on down there. And the last thing that I'd like to avoid is doing a cab mount chop. I am prepared, but it's definitely something that I'd like to avoid. Plus, I'm sure you guys have noticed that I did not purchase a 5th tire for my spare, as I was thinking that a good used tire with plenty of life left would suffice. Spare tires are seldom used, and I did not want to spend the full pop on a new set just for it to collect dust and rust out down under the truck. It looks like my work is cut out for me, and I need to address these things before our first off-roading trip on May 1st. And I need to hustle a little bit to get these done, and I will inform you guys on the status of these on my next video. So that's it, guys. Another overlanding mod out of the way, and I'm getting closer to completing my build. Please post any questions or comments down in the comment section below, and please hit the like button if this video was helpful to you, and consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. I hope to see you on my next video, and always look out for each other, and especially yourself. And for now, if you can be anything, please be kind.